Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts down below. In this video, we are taking a look at how I'm fixing my reverse pivot, as it is known, in my golf swing. I will be explaining to you a bit more about what a reverse pivot is and how to correct it. It's currently something I'm working on in my game. If you haven't seen one of my previous videos where I talk about some of the changes I'm making in my golf swing, I am actually working with one of Tiger Woods' old golf coaches. His name is Peter Murphy. Highly recommend checking his Instagram out here. Everything I'm working on with comes from Peter, comes from, the things he's getting me to do. And the video I'm going to be doing after this is all about how to coil up in the golf swing, how Tiger Woods and all these top players use the ground to create so much power, and how they really coil up using their legs, their hips, and their spine to really wind up in the golf swing to create so much consistency. It's probably the biggest correlating factor all of these top players do in their golf swings, which most amateurs do not do at all. We do it completely wrong, including myself. Not even amateurs, but just even good players can do it wrong. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at my golf swing. Let's get started. Here, I'm going to show you a down the line version first. Now, this is actually a few weeks ago. I've been working on it since then, but I want to show you exactly what was wrong, because let's take a look at this down the line swing first of all. Now, as you can see, it's pretty good swing. If we pose it parallel to the ground, club is nicely outside the hands. I do like the club to be outside the hands because it means I'm not rolling it inside and stuff. It's something I've worked on. I'm getting a bit more width. I would ideally like the club to be not quite so outside the hands, maybe a touch more closed just to match my spine angle, but overall this position isn't too bad. Now, as we start to take it to the top, you see I do hinge my wrists quite early, I would say, and start to fold that right elbow quite a lot quite early. If we pause it at the top, that's also something I'm kind of trying to get out of, trying to create a bit more width and a bit later wrist set in the golf swing. This typically will help keep a bit more power in the golf swing, get a bit more club head speed. I also did a video actually talking about this, how to create more speed very, very easily in the golf swing. You can check that video out on my channel as well. But yeah, that's typically what I'm working on. It also does help create a wider swing arc, so more consistency, better control over the low point of the golf swing. From this position though, club's a pretty good position, matches nicely with my lead, my left wrist. As we slowly start to swing down, club shallows, we pause it parallel to the ground. Not a bad position there. Maybe club face a little bit open and a little bit inside, which isn't the best combination because typically it means I'm going to push the golf ball. It's going to kind of start right, going right if the club face is open to the swing plane. As we slowly play it down to impact, you can see here at impact, I haven't rotated a huge amount. That's another thing I'd like to I will be talking about, because fixing these things with my reverse pivot is automatically going to mean I can more easily rotate in the golf swing. This, by the way, I think this was like a 6-iron I'm hitting here. As we slowly play it through, you can see I kind of hold on to the club face, don't really let it release over. The ball sets out pretty straight. It was a little bit kind of fat, and also I do have a little bit of chicken wing in that left arm. Okay, so now let's take a look at my golf swing from a front-on angle. And this is really where you're going to notice if you have a bit of a reverse pivot. Now, first of all, this is a 4-iron I'm hitting here. The ball is a bit further back in my stance than I would recommend having for a 4-iron. That's just because I was trying to play a slightly lower draw type shot. Nothing really to do other than that. It's just what I was trying to play on that hole, so you can just ignore that. It's kind of where you'd want really a wedge or maybe a shorter iron. But other than that, setup looks okay. Spine angle, I would typically like it a little bit more tilted back, more tilted, well, to our left, to my right as I'm set up to it, but to our left, kind of away from the ball, get my head a little bit further back and my hips a little bit further to the left. And this is what another thing we're going to be talking about with the reverse pivot. This is You know, that is something that could cause a reverse pivot if your spine angle is wrong from the start, and it's something that will definitely not be helping me from the start of my swing. So something, just a slight tweak to change there. But as we take the club away, because we're going to see this reverse pivot motion happen quite quickly, if you pay special attention to my left hip, so as you're looking at me on the right hand side, my hip on the right, you're going to notice that it moves to the left. You're going to notice you'll be able to see more of whatever is behind me, behind that left hip, or as we're looking at it on the right hand side. So if we slowly start to play that back, you're going to see there it starts to shift a little bit, and as we take it kind of to about here, at about halfway back, my spine angle is pretty much at a 90-degree angle to the ground. It's not really tilted away. It's maybe a little bit. A more extreme reverse pivot would be if my spine angle, if it was tilted to the right. For example, if my head was on the right hand side of the golf ball from this angle, and if my hips were a bit more to the left, that would be like a more extreme reverse pivot. We will be looking at like another player like Tiger Woods or someone from this angle as well, to show you what a really good pivot should look like, what it should look like from this angle. We'll take a look at it after this swing. So as we play it to the top, you can see again, if we pause it at the top, pretty much 90 degrees as we, you know, put it kind of my spine angle there. And then as I start to swing through, those hips do shift back to the left, and I actually do get into a better spine angle if we pause it at impact. That's a much better spine angle. You can see I'm more tilted away from the golf ball. We want that because we want the strike coming into the golf ball. Obviously, we want to strike the golf ball first. So, and then we want to strike the ground, but we want to be coming through quite shallow. So if you have a reverse pivot, typically it's going to make you come in quite steep to the ball, but then if you have a really extreme reverse pivot, you may have to back out of it and back onto your right side and almost fall away from it. So that could counter it and make you come through quite shallow. But typically if you do that, you'll notice that at impact and even after impact, your weight will be on your right hand side. We don't want that. We want our weight on, if we're a right-handed golfer, at the top of the golf swing, we want to be loaded into that right-hand side. And then as we start to swing down at impact, we really want a lot of pressure going through our left foot and our left leg into the ground there. And you can see I do that actually a little bit. It's kind of okay. It's not too extreme an example. As we slowly start to play it through here, it's not bad. I do get the pressure back onto that left side. But now let's take a look at someone like Tiger Woods, because obviously someone like this is going to have a much better example than I can show you. This is like, you know, something for you guys to copy in your own golf swings. Tiger does it so well. We're going to have a look at Tiger hitting driver, because it's probably the most exaggerated look in terms of spine angle in the golf swing. It's definitely kind of the best to look at, the best angle to look at. And by the way, to really see this, you're going to need to be filming yourself doing it from front on, from directly ahead of you. We took a look at my swing from down the line first, because you can't see that motion very much from down the line. It's very difficult to see from that angle. And that's why I wanted to show you my swing from down the line, because typically I look at my golf swing from down the line a lot and it looks okay, but you know, it just shows you that you really have to look at it from front on as well in order to really recognize what's going on in your swing. So here we have Tiger set up with driver. Immediately you can see that Tiger's spine angle is far better already. Now the spine angle should be a little bit more tilted away from the ball with a driver or wood, because you're gonna not want to be hitting down on the ball so much, especially if it's teed up with a driver. Typically you want to be hitting up on the ball, but that doesn't matter too much for what we're looking at here. It's a more exaggerated look. As we take the club back for Tiger, we're gonna notice that he stays pretty central. As we pause it halfway back, we can see that, you know, Tiger's head is very, very far to his right, to our left. It's to the left side of the golf ball as we're looking at this. And his hips stay more to our right. So his spine angle is far more tilted away from the golf ball. As we slowly play it to the top, if we pause it at the top here, that is just a perfect position, really. I mean, you could copy that every day of the week. His right hip has moved back behind him. His left hip and leg has stayed strong on that left side. He hasn't swayed too much away from the ball. And that spine angle is beautifully tilted away from the golf ball. That club could not be more perfectly parallel with the ground if he tried. As we start to swing down, we're going to slowly see Tiger shift pressure onto his left side through the ball, but he's maintaining his spine angle. If we pause it at impact, he pretty much, yes, he's shifted his weight across, but he's actually maintained his spine angle away from the golf ball. There's been no kind of big changes moving either direction with his spine. He's just rotating and shifting that pressure across to his left side and through the golf ball. As we slowly play it through here, you can see comes through to that finish on his left side. So now let's take a look at me after I've done a little bit of work on this. It was exactly the same day, so it's not going to be, it's not going to be a huge change, but also it is actually noticeable. You'll be surprised how quickly you can make a change like this, and how fast you can really start to notice it in your golf swing once you become a bit more aware of it. So now we're going to have a look. Let's go. We've got me here. We'll have a look at two swings. We've got me here set up with driver. Now, I had a look at this swing from front on, and when I saw this swing, again, I don't really normally video my swing from this angle, but the first thing I noticed is my feet are quite narrow for a driver stance. If we think about that clip we just watched of Tiger, much, much wider, more stable stance. So that's another thing I'm trying to change in my swing, and more my setup really. As we take it away, you can see I do still reverse pivot, but if we pause it at the top, I actually do get into a better position here. I'm much more tilted away from the golf ball. There's a few things going wrong here I want to talk to you guys about in the next video I'm going to do, about how to really coil up, how to more use your hips, use your spine, use your legs more effectively, which I'm not doing as effectively here. Which was again given to me by Peter Murphy, excellent coach Tiger Woods, Patrick Reed, loads and loads of players. So yeah, really, really interesting. But my spine angle is better here, and as we slowly play it through, if we pause it at impact, God, I mean, it looks like I'm about to miss the ball basically. But my spine angle again is pretty similar. I have it early extended and jumped up a bit maybe, and that's another issue for another day, but my spine angle is a bit better. As we play it through, let's have a look, now with 3-wood. This is much better. Now, in the swing, again, my ball position is a little bit far back. Again, probably something I need to work on, moving that ball position up a little bit more in my stance, because actually here I wasn't trying to hit that low of a shot, so definitely something I need to work on. But my stance is wider. This is something I actually noticeably did for this golf swing, is to widen that stance out a little bit. So definitely better there. And actually, if we notice my spine angle address here, it's actually better already. I'm more tilted away from the golf ball. My head's more to the left side or to my right as I was setting up with it. As we slowly play it back, you can see my hips aren't shifting nearly as much to the right. If we pause it halfway back here, much, much better spine angle there, way, way better, massively, massively improved. And to me, it felt like in this position I was easier to keep my hands and arms in front of me. I could basically kind of had more space at the top of the swing. It was easier to rotate because I wasn't so much cramped for room, and it was easier to also shift my weight back onto my left side. As we start to play it to the top, again, it's an exaggeration here, that spine angle, maybe even a bit too much at this point, but that's just an exaggeration of what I was trying to feel. As we slowly play it through to impact, rotate, shift pressure across, we can kind of see how much pressure is going through my left side. My ball position is definitely too far back. That is far too much shaft lean than you'd want with a 3-wood really. But the spine angle is better. Again, it's, you know, tilted the right way this time, and definitely more tilt in it as we slowly play it through to the finish. Again, not as much pressure on my left side as I'd want here. Definitely not as much as Tiger, but, you know, can't all have it all the time. Got to work on these things slowly. So guys, let me know what you think about that. I'm going to be doing a separate video to more explain how to get that position really effectively, how to really coil from the ground up, how to initiate the golf swing with your legs, then your hips, then your lower back, then your mid back, then your upper back, coiling up like Tiger Woods, like all these top players do. It's a concept which all the top tour coaches talk about and get their players to do, but actually most golf coaches, I personally find, don't really get their players to do it very much. I think it's kind of, it's weird. I don't know why that is. It's not so much talked about. It's not so much coached. I think it's maybe because it's not a hard concept to grasp your head around, but it does take some work, some practice, but it is so effective, and that's why I want to share it with you guys, so you can really dramatically see changes in your golf swing, but also understand how your body should work in your golf swing. Because that is so important, to not just to hit better golf shots, but to also prevent injury and use your body effectively. Because let's face it, golf is not a great sport for your body. Most of us don't use our bodies very well in it anyways. You can see in that video myself. And, you know, we need to be able to do these things, not just to play better golf, but actually to play more golf for longer in our lives and not get injured. Make sure you guys do like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to think. Make sure you have that bell icon turned on so that you are notified of that next video, because it will be very valuable to you guys. I can promise you that. I'm going to put a lot of work into it. And I will see you guys in the next one. As always, guys, grip it and rip it.